Hello and welcome to the virtual Cyber Know-How event. My particular chapter here is going to be talking to you about how to protect your children online and to look at the risks and benefits of social networking. So safeguarding in a digital world, this has become a very, very new aspect for parents and teachers and schools to be able to look at and understand how to safeguard young people in a virtual digital world and online. Around 75% of secondary age pupils have their own devices. We call them these digital babies. And that's because they've grown up in this particular era where using a device, having a device of their own or a device in their room has become more normal practice. So around 65% have access to the internet in their own bedrooms. And then over 30% say their parents hardly ever or never know what they're doing online. And that's quite a worryingly high statistic. Half say they believe everything they see on websites or social media. We must remember that our young people are still children and therefore they're easily impressionable, and things that they may see on social media or on the internet and websites, they may believe. They need that adult perspective to be able to actually normalise and understand what they are seeing in this digital world. So 58% of 15-year-olds have said that they've made friends with someone they know online, and they call them their friends. However, they may not have ever met them in the real flesh, and they may just have a virtual relationship where they speak to each other on the internet. So over a third, 1/3 of those have met their friends in real life. So some take it to the next level where they choose to meet these people that they've met online in real life. However, that poses some very high risks, because half of those met this friend alone without an awareness of actually whether the person they were even talking to online was real or not, therefore putting themselves into highly vulnerable situations where they are then presenting and meeting someone outdoors who they actually don't know the reality of. So, have you spoken to your child about how easy it is to lie online? Have you spoken to your child about how exactly who their friends are on Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat? The people that follow them, they actually don't know them. The followers and the friends, they actually don't have relationships with these people, and that could be misunderstood by some of our young people. Have you spoken to your child about how to meet these friends safely? If that's a choice that is made, then parental guidance and support throughout that meeting would need to take place to ensure it was safe. So the NSPCC, the National Society for the Protection of Cruelty to Children, have a great website which is kept up to speed with lots of key information that parents need to know about. It's very much current, so any new trends that are being released, they cover these on the NSPC website. So please try and use that as a forum to explore other means to keep your child safe online. There are so many of these apps that children use nowadays more frequently. And for the ones that you may recognise here, we still have more that you may not recognise. Hundreds more, thousands more of apps that pupils and young people use nowadays that you may not even be aware of even exist. Please be aware also of social media age restrictions. This information is also on the NSPC website. And the reason why we bring this to your attention is because I think a majority of parents are unaware of some of the restrictions that are in place for some of these apps that young people use. So Roblox was one that came out last year and was highly popular. However, if you are under 13 and use Roblox, you're meant to have parental consent for this. And another one I wanted to draw your attention to was WhatsApp, where they've increased the use of the age restriction to 16 plus. This is due to them bringing in that group chat function, which they believe that young people under the age of 16 don't yet have the maturity to use sensibly. And therefore, they see more issues with the under 16s who are using WhatsApp, in particular the group chat function. Did you know that if your child posts a photo on Instagram then own that photo? They can do whatever they like with it. The permissions for that photograph then becomes under the ownership of Instagram. And when you have app updates, which sometimes phones do, they do reset all of the privacy settings to public. So it's something to bear in mind that when your child has an update on their phone, that actually all of the settings need to then be reset to have private settings instead of viewing to all public. A good quote to think about is, if you wouldn't let strangers into your house to see your child, why would you allow it online? And therefore, knowing what your child and who your child is speaking to online is vitally important, as you wouldn't allow that to happen in the home. Something I wanted to bring to your attention is an app called Omegle. So it's an online chat forum. You don't need to register to use it, and children can get randomly paired to one-to-one chats with total strangers. There's also the idea of TikTok that's come about. This is a huge trend. We know that a lot of young people use TikTok. However, there was a recently videoed suicide on there, which some pupils were exposed to and some young children may have seen. And there's also some trends that they tend to try and follow that have become quite upsetting, in particular issues in schools that actually are caused by TikTok videos. And now to look at online gaming. So online gaming is a groomer's virtual playground because you're never 100% confident who you're playing against online. How do you know that Gamer Boy 2016 is not actually a 46-year-old man from Huddersfield grooming your child? If your child has a games console in their bedroom, this is just as much need to safeguard them to make sure they're not interacting with total strangers, and also just spending too much time on it and being befriended by people that they necessarily do not know. So another aspect of gaming is knowing about the content of your child's games. Some parents are quite shocked to see that actually in Grand Theft Auto, there's a very, very strong language used, but so many sexual elements, including strip clubs, snippet of male genitalia, a scene where one of three main characters is having sex with another guy's girlfriend. There is a torture scene which is impossible to skip, and in this sequence they are directed in using various instruments, for example a pipe wrench, tooth removal, electrocution, waterboarding. The sequence is intense and it's prolonged and it involves some player interaction, and effectively the game also contains use of some very offensive language and some racial terminology. So the last thing I wanted to talk about here is sexting and the sharing of sexual imagery, which can also be classed as peer-on-peer abuse. Childline survey of 13 to 18-year-olds talked about 60% admitting to being asked for sexual images. That's a huge amount of children who've been requested to have nude pictures from them. 40% admitted to creating images of themselves. 25% admitted to actually sending them. Sharing includes showing the image to others and not just sending it, and both are criminal offences, which we do teach the children in our Reach Time curriculum. For further help, there are some websites here that you can use to tap into, and always go back to the NSPCC website, Think You Know, internetmatters.org, UK Safer Internet. All of these websites are great help for parents who just need to know a little bit more about how to safeguard their child online. Thank you very much for watching, and if you can you fill in the evaluation form and make sure you watch all the other chapters that are being shared with you this week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.